Masturbation is often considered harmless, but what if it's silently affecting your social life? In this video titled The Hidden Link Between Masturbation and Social Anxiety, we reveal how frequent self-pleasure may increase nervousness, reduce confidence, and weaken real-world interactions. Here are 5 surprising ways this habit might be fueling your social anxiety, and how to break free. 1. Eroded eye contact and body language. Masturbation, especially when combined with porn, can subconsciously damage your confidence in the real world. One of the earliest places this shows up is in your eye contact and body language. When you engage in an act that brings pleasure in private, but leads to guilt or shame after, your subconscious mind starts to associate your actions with weakness or secrecy. You may start looking down more, avoiding direct eye contact, or slouching your posture, especially around people you're attracted to. Eye contact is a sign of confidence. It's how we assert presence, build trust, and connect with others. But if you're constantly hiding parts of your life from the world, your brain interprets that as a threat. In social situations, your body responds by shrinking away instead of leaning in. On NoFap forums, countless men report that after just 14 days of abstinence, they feel bolder, more upright, and better able to maintain eye contact. This isn't a coincidence. It's a neurological shift. As you step away from guilt-driven behaviors, your body stops reacting with shame. You start walking straighter, looking people in the eye, and expressing yourself without hesitation. Fixing this doesn't require you to fake confidence. It's about aligning your actions with your values, so your body naturally reflects your inner strength. Reducing masturbation, especially porn-driven, helps you regain that alignment. 2. Increased guilt, lower self-worth. Frequent masturbation, particularly when mixed with pornography, often leaves a trail of guilt. This guilt doesn't just sit in your mind temporarily, it embeds itself into how you see yourself. Over time, it can create a narrative of low self-worth. I can't control myself, I'm not good enough, or I'm living a double life. This negative self-talk becomes especially loud in social settings. You may find yourself overthinking every word you say, worrying about how you're being perceived, or assuming others are judging you, even when they're not. This is a hallmark of social anxiety. The brain thrives on alignment. When your private actions conflict with your public image or moral values, it causes cognitive dissonance, a psychological tension that often shows up as anxiety. You feel like an imposter in your own body. People who take on the NoFap challenge often say they start to feel more whole within a week or 2. That's because abstaining allows the guilt to lift. When you feel proud of how you're living, that pride shows up in your conversations, your confidence, and your ability to speak freely. By choosing self-discipline over self-indulgence, you're telling yourself, I am in control of my choices. That message rewires your brain. It builds real self-worth, not the kind based on appearance or status, but the kind that stays strong even when no one's watching. So if you feel nervous, awkward, or unsure in social spaces, ask yourself if guilt is the underlying emotion. If it is, consider whether your habits are aligned with the kind of person you want to be. Making that change isn't just a private victory, it changes how you show up in the world. 3. Escapism weakens real-world skills. Masturbation, especially when habitual, is often a form of emotional escapism. Instead of confronting boredom, loneliness, or frustration, many turn to self-pleasure for quick relief. Over time, this escape becomes a habit, and that habit reduces the need to face uncomfortable emotions or build real-world coping skills. The result, in social settings, you feel less equipped to deal with stress, awkward moments, or unpredictable interactions. Since you've trained your brain to retreat into instant comfort, your tolerance for discomfort shrinks. You may avoid conversations, withdraw in group settings, or even cancel plans just to stay in that comfort zone. Human connection, however, requires vulnerability. It requires putting yourself in unpredictable, sometimes awkward, environments, and learning to navigate them. But if your go-to habit is isolation and stimulation, your social resilience never develops. People who step away from this pattern and commit to NoFap often report an increase in social courage. They feel more capable of facing tension instead of running from it. Whether it's approaching someone new, speaking up in a meeting, or handling criticism, they stop hiding. Escapism is easy, Growth is hard, but every time you choose presence over pleasure, discomfort over dopamine, you're building the skills that reduce social anxiety. You're reconditioning your brain to stay grounded, to engage, and to grow. So the next time you feel the urge to escape into self-pleasure, ask yourself, what am I avoiding? That simple question can shift your entire mindset and lead to more meaningful social connections. 4. Hypersensitivity to rejection. When you're constantly seeking validation through artificial pleasure, your brain becomes wired to expect instant rewards. This makes you emotionally fragile in real-world social settings, where feedback isn't always immediate or positive. Frequent masturbation teaches your brain to experience pleasure on demand, but social interaction doesn't work that way. You can't predict people's reactions, and sometimes they'll ignore, interrupt, or misunderstand you. For someone used to perfect control in private, these small rejections can feel huge. This leads to hypersensitivity, a tendency to overanalyze, withdraw, or fear even mild criticism or awkwardness. You may think, they don't like me, or I sounded stupid, when in reality, the moment was neutral. Your brain, however, registers it as rejection because it's not used to waiting or working for positive feedback. When people take on NoFap, this reactivity often begins to fade. They become more emotionally resilient, not because life gets easier, but because their nervous system isn't on high alert all the time. They stop expecting perfection, and they start handling social friction with calm and maturity. This doesn't mean you won't still feel nervous at times, but it does mean you'll respond instead of react. You'll be able to laugh off awkwardness, stay grounded in discomfort, and bounce back faster from rejection. Reducing masturbation teaches your brain that life isn't about constant comfort, it's about connection, patience, and learning. That shift in mindset is a powerful antidote to social anxiety. 5. Isolation and the shrinking social muscle. Masturbation, especially when done in secret and on a daily basis, often leads to a life of isolation. You may start choosing alone time over time with friends. You may cancel plans, stay up late, and live in your own bubble. Over time, your social muscle starts to shrink. Like any muscle, social confidence needs to be used to stay strong. If you don't interact, engage, or express yourself regularly, those skills fade. You may become more introverted, shy, or hesitant, not because that's who you are, but because that's what your habits have trained you to be. The more isolated you become, the harder it is to re-enter the social world. Even simple conversations feel daunting. Group settings feel overwhelming. You start to believe you're just not a people person, when in fact your lifestyle is keeping you disconnected. NoFap helps reverse this. When you stop indulging in solo stimulation, you naturally start seeking connection elsewhere. You may find yourself reaching out to friends, showing up to events, or engaging in hobbies again. The spark for interaction returns. This doesn't mean you become instantly outgoing, but it does mean you rebuild that social muscle, step by step. You start remembering how to talk, laugh, listen, and enjoy company. And most importantly, you realize that connection feels better than escape. So if your world has been getting smaller, if you've been hiding from interaction, look at your habits. Are they fueling isolation? If so, stepping back from them may be the very thing that helps you step back into life. Social anxiety doesn't always come from trauma or personality. Sometimes, it grows quietly through habits we think are harmless. Masturbation, especially when frequent and linked to porn, can slowly erode confidence, connection, and communication. But here's the good news, you can change that. By becoming more aware, building discipline, and stepping into your discomfort rather than escaping it, you can reduce anxiety and rebuild your presence. You can look people in the eye, speak with confidence, and feel proud of who you are becoming. This is not about shame, it's about strength, and it starts with a single decision. Subscribe now to NoFap Nation for more truth, support, and tools to help you live boldly. You're not alone, and your next level is closer than you think.